Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today me and my cavalcade of Five Nights at Freddy's rejects are going to go on a genocidal spree to bring you 100 duels of Fluffals. As always guys, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment hashtag for the Fluffal down below in our kinda Halloween video. Let's dive right into the 100 duels. Game 1 we were up against Neos. Gonna be honest, I had no clue what I was doing with this deck, and there can be parts that are pretty hard to watch. I also didn't find a build that I was super happy with till about the last quarter, so expect to see the build change a lot throughout the video. Anyway, after a game that was far too long, I happened to win. And really, not much happened in Game 2 either. They made me go first, and I just hit them with the whale on their turn, and they decided to quit. In Game 3, I'm up against Shinobird, and I'm gonna be clear, I obviously had absolutely no feckin' clue what I was doing here, and watching some of these plays in retrospect is pretty painful. So I'm sorry, I'm just sorry for what you've had to see here. I lost. Let's just move on. Game 4 starts my never-ending torture of opening up Fright for a fusion. In this one, I'm a bit more competent but still have some work to do. I do a bit to clear up the board, but I really could have been way more efficient with my plays, but it's all part of the learning process in the end. But yeah, we take the win here. Even though some dumb plays happened, we still love a free win. So throughout Game 5, I actually imagined that ritual players just summon a floodgate monster and smile, and then they're just like, I'm the best player ever, but then they get hit with an imperm for their troubles. This one looks a lot better, we do lots of damage. We go brrrr. Game number 6, I'm like, let's just shotgun the whale, cause why not? I've got no idea what I'm doing here. Slowly over time, I will get better at actually using the tools available to me, like Tiger and Wolf. I used to not even play them, however, they are amazing, and with them, we smash. Game 7 again, I've really no idea why I did half the things that I do. My opponent set a couple of cards and I was like, okay. I ended up just clicking a lot of buttons until they scooped. I probably had an OTK in there somewhere, so like I guess we were gonna win it anyway. Game 8's against Monarchs. In Game 9 they did it again! Yes! I'll be real, Game 10 wasn't great. I did really try to play through everything but the Cosmic hurt. And the Lost Wind hurt. And the Super Poly hurt. But after all my plays got thwarted, I just couldn't win anymore. In Game 11 I kept expecting a bit more of a combo, but it looks like this deck wants to keep it real simple. I'm not sure I hit the right card since that Lost Wind actually did hurt, but I don't think I could have killed them before they dropped the Dragoon anyway, so oh well. Game 12's up against Invoke Shaddolls and it wasn't super hard. I shotgunned the whale again, I'm not really sure why. It's a card to be used carefully, children. Thankfully, they didn't draw Big Al and Invocation, so it was a fairly easy OTK on my turn. Game 13 wasn't really bad either. The Winda can be really painful, but I managed to play through to the point of second one really good boy on them. He is a good boy. Game 14's up against Dark Magician, and I think you know how this one's gonna go. They've set 3 cards. One was Swords of Revealing Light, one was Magic Cylinder. Poor guy. Game 15 had me going first, and while this deck doesn't really go first, with the right hand you've got a little bit of leeway, so I had a Droplet plus a whale, which isn't too bad. After halting their Dragoon play, I did the usual on my turn, and then I was hit by Magic Cylinder. I'm gonna be honest here, the shame overshadows the win. Hey, Future Tally here, just quickly jumping in to let you know that roughly only 13.4% of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. Do me a favour, I want to hit 2k by the end of the year. That would be an amazing Christmas present, so feel free to subscribe, like that would be pretty goddamn awesome. Game 16 we're up against Pendulum! Well, in this one I thought the Millennium Eyes could go ahead and negate my Scythe, so I didn't capitalise on their weak spots, and ultimately I just couldn't play through what they had, and I wanted to die a little inside. In Game 17 I didn't make the same mistake, did not waste my chance to get rid of Servant, and they did the Pendulum thing to try to draw through their entire deck, but just after drawing less and less combo pieces, they decided to scoop it up. And in Game 18 they set up a combo that would make Triff proud, like they couldn't have done more if they tried, and I just could not beat that. They had every single extender possible, and honestly, having been a Pendulum player myself at one point, this does make me a little bit hot under the collar. I mean, a loss is a loss, but oh damn. In game 19, I'm up against some sort of abomination, and I thought I'd gotten away with it when I hit the Verte, but having Bardiche as a backup is pretty decent. I didn't really have the hand to play through both Fog Blights, so I scoop. In game 20, I've got a feeling that they really bricked, and they overestimated how much I summoned fairy monsters. Now, if they had called fiends, I've been screwed, but they didn't, and a very good boy chewed them up. In game 21, I've still got no idea what this deck is all about. This three hands have all been the one deck, and after I drop any interruption on it, they scoop, and I'm still left confused at what their actual game plan is. And in game 22, I'm up against Altergeist, and it's a weird matchup against this deck in my opinion. Some hands are absolutely going to blow them out of the water, and some won't. This one didn't, and then I realised I couldn't out, so I just decided to commit scoop phase. Well, in game 23 we're up against Mystic Mine, and thank God for that Imperm, or I'd have been a goner. They would have just sat on mine, and I've got no main deck outs to it, and it would have been a really uncomfortable experience, but we took it. We did indeed. In game 24 I'm up against Buster Blader, and well, this deck does absolutely nothing without any sort of extra deck access, so having some big floodgates on my opponent's side of the field really screws me. Some back row removal really would be cool here. I should maybe consider that. We've sided in evenly for game 25, and I do love to see it against any back row deck, but this one's even better. I hit them with the whale on their turn and they just uber scooped. No issue with that since this game was ours anyway. In game 26 we are up against the true best deck, Hero, and it's a pretty nasty matchup here. Darklaw is nasty in general, so I definitely wanted to stop the Shadow Mist, but I should have saved it for my turn when I could guarantee a bit more of an ability to break the board. I'd managed to get rid of most of their cards, but I decided that increase was going to allow them to absolutely ruin me, and just gave them the respect they deserve and lost. In game 27 we are up against Luna Lightsworn, and this is a weird deck. I've really got nothing to say. I break the board and then I sick my dog on them again. Game 28 wasn't my best either, but there was no way that I could lose this. I tried going for game, but my maths actually sucks, leaving them with 100 life points, but they've got no board, they've got no plays, so they scoop them up anyway. In game 29 I'm up against a real Jaden Yuki fan who ent on Stratos and passes. Of course I won this one. They did the same again in game 30, they didn't make any plays. Of course I took this one too. In game 31 I'm up against Pure Numeron. They opened up with nothing, and even after being hit by Nibiru, they had nothing, so they hit the Uber Scoop button. In game 32 I'm up against Salamangreat, and I managed to break their board, and in an effort to have some form of interaction, I set up a negate, but I burned it too early and they cleared them out. They scooped after I drew for turn. Maybe they thought I had the win, but if they seen my hand they probably wouldn't think the same. They managed to set up a bit of a board in game 33, and for as much as I gave it a go, I tried to break that board, I just didn't have the resources to punch through everything, so I'm going to go ahead and take the fat L on this one. And in game 34, I think they must have thought they'd go second, but they obviously haven't watched any Arc 5. So anyway, they super brick, and as soon as they see that I can do any combo whatsoever, they know where it's going, and they quit. Our next match is up against Fabled. I've got no idea what Fabled do, but they didn't do much. Even though I had to go first with this deck's lack of going first options, I still got the whale, and that gives me an OTK next turn. I'll be real, I lost game 36. I really didn't read Fabled Unicorn, and when I tried to go for my final set of plays, I lost. Fucking horse. And in game 37, I wanted to go first, I sided different Dimension Ground in order to just ruin their life. It didn't turn out that way, and to top it off, I misclicked and didn't pop with whale, but I eventually managed to pop off on the next turn and force them into scooping. But I'm not proud of this win, I'm absolutely not. Game 38's up against Evil Eye, and the big tiger was pretty clutch in this game, and had one of those god hands that allows me to absolutely smash, so they just uber scooped and they quit, and that's okay. Honestly, in game 39 it was just luck that got me anywhere. I experimented with Phantasmi and it kinda paid off here. I did find that I had to reduce some of the engine to get there, which messed up the overall consistency, so I chucked it, but in this case I still took the game after breaking the board and setting up some big punches making them scoop. And in game 40, alrighty then, I lost to Harpies in game 41, and that statue really is the worst piece of art ever, and I hate it. and I hope it stubs its toe on every surface ever. Truthfully, it's pretty funny, but I'm not happy about it. This deck hates floodgates. Alright, I'll admit, in game 42 I was actually pretty scared of getting Barrier Statue passed again, so instead of using my whale at the right time, I just let myself get OTK'd. No, we don't talk about this anymore. We're up against Mermail in game 43, and to start off this game my opponent opens enough for a bit of interaction, but Scythe is the best card ever, except when it does nothing. On the bright side, at least I have more cards than them, and can probably get a bit lucky when they link, which I do, so of course we clear the board and leave them with no steam and they scoop. And I'll be honest, in game 44 it felt so good to open the rock. They probably could have done it differently, but going for the Bahamut meant I had to go and drop the Nibiru on them quickly. On my turn, I do a bit more to clear the board without the OTK, but I own this ocean now with my deadly whale. Game 45 is actually a bit of a showcase of what happens with this deck when you don't explode and pop off. The deck can go from 0 to 60 in no time, but it's just not amazing at doing it consistently. I end up getting screwed by Cyber Dragon Infinity, and this deck's desperate need to see Poly, making me top deck a dead card. In game 46, I'm up against BA. Now this is more what I'm looking for, literally just extending and breaking apart the board bit by bit and knocking them back until they decide to go to game 2, which was a smart move, player. Now I want to say something about game 47. Imagine going through almost half of your deck and not seeing one of your 2 engines after hella deck thinning. This is the thing about this deck, it needs 2 engines that need each other to work, and it doesn't always work out perfectly. And to be honest, game 48's a bit of a mismatch. This BA dude just should have quit right away. I will take another free win regardless though. Game 49 sees us up against Orchist, and in this one I had a pretty godlike hand, and I won't complain. You get these in Fluffals sometimes, and that's a real benefit of the deck, and sometimes even Toy Vendor pops off and gets a cheeky Abyss Dweller to force them into action. They ended up scooping, and that's okay with me. I don't know why I expected anything other than being made to go first in game 50, and they had Droll, which kinda ruins anything this deck can do going first or second. This one wasn't so lucky, the hand still was pretty tasty though. And in game 51, I'm not even sure why I made me go first. They didn't have Droll in hand, and I gave it to them for free. I really did try and go hard and go for the kill, and I hoped I could bluff with Wolf, but they were having none of it. This one was a loss as well, but it was fun. Game 52's up against Adamancipator, and I won't lie, this was a really good effort. I did make a huge mistake that I'm really not happy about, but that was more of a misclick than a genuine misplay. But somehow I managed to break their board and stop them from recovering. I accidentally set Dolphin, which was a big mistake, but after I went into Whale, they scooped, so I don't get an opportunity to be punished for being an idiot. Big success. Game 53 has that same BA dude coming back for more punishment. Again, this shows the deck picking off a bit more momentum, and it's really what you want to see with the deck, and by now, I hope you're seeing some of the deck's flaws just a little bit. The inconsistencies are creeping in. Game 54, we're up against Pendulum again. Yo, Pend is an okay deck. They could have done a fair bit, but the Scythe is just too good. They end on a single Celine, and to be honest, you know that's not much of a challenge. And in game 55 we are up against @Ignister, and I to this day have no idea what this deck does, but it combos and I give it points for that. But I popped off and they decided they wanted to quit, and that's honestly okay by me. I'm up against something really weird in game 56, like it's just normal spam turbo, and I don't know how their hand became that bored. I love it, I thought I was going to get FTK'd. Now thankfully I didn't, and I had droplets, and then I just threw a large mechanical dog at them. They didn't do quite so well in game 57 and ended on a single negate. Joke's on them though, I would have lost to a single negate, but they quit anyway. I want you to take one thing away from game 58. There are few things in this life more satisfying than hitting your opponent with Wolf like 1,000,000 times. I love that guy. In game 59, I forgot that Rivalry was a card. Probably could have played it different, but they got a legit win here. Game 60 just showcases the deck's biggest weakness again. If you've got no Fluffals, it means no win, and it's that simple, and honestly, I'm not happy that I lost this way. I kinda get it, but like, I feel cheated. Game 61's up against Dark Magician, and by God, it's dumb. They opened nothing but imperms and hand traps, and it took some time, but I eventually forced a scoop. And that's all that matters though. Game 62 was way faster, a very quick board wake with a full OTK with my favourite doggo. Game 63, I'm up against Cyber Dragon, and this Cyber style sucker tried to go for Verte, and we know that Verte loses to Scythe, so we stop them in their tracks and then we destroy them. So in Game 64 my opponent made me go first, and I kinda seen it coming, so I sided correctly. We managed to slow them down, and ultimately it ends exactly how you think it's gonna end. And Game 65 is up against Shaddolls. This one was weird since they opened a lot of hand traps and no gas, and I needed some gas too. Eventually I do get into a good position, I hit them with the VFD, and they just decided they couldn't handle it, and they scooped. Game 66 is against another normal base deck. They start off with a weird combo, tend on pretty much nothing, and of course I take the free win, so I combo off and they scoop them up. Game 67, I've got no idea what happened to be honest. Probably could have taken this one, but I didn't scythe early enough, leaving me with pretty much no life points, and that dolphin smacked me with its blowhole. And it's another free win in Game 68 because they drew poorly and scooped, and that's all there really is to it. Game 69, and we're up against classic Pendulum Graph, Pendulum Magicians, and this just felt bad. Please Konami, just bring back my banned Pendulum cards, please. Game 70, and I'm up against Cosmo, and as usual I start to combo off, get to popping, and they just scoop him up. I can't blame him either, because I would have murdered them. Here's a little secret that I learned in Game 71, and this is going to sound shocking. Did you know anti-spell sucks and this deck cannot play through that? It's alright though, we will take the next one. I'll be real, Game 72 didn't go too great either, because for some reason I thought it'd be a good idea to go first, and quite frankly I regret that. I lost this one too just because I didn't play the deck as it's supposed to be played. Game 73 is up against Dra, and of course I won, that deck sucks. Game 74, I'm up against Trickstar Mech Knight, and I'm gonna be real, I thought I was gonna lose this after they broke my board and then hit me with the reincarnation, but I just drew the nuts, and the literal best combo in the deck of Tiger into Wolf won me that game. Fuck, I love these cards. In Game 75, all I'm gonna say is God bless misplays, we managed to survive, and then you know what I did, Tiger, Wolf, win, bang! Game 76 was just fast, son! Game 77 was just a really weird deck. My opponent's deck does seem kinda bricky, and I think they lost to themselves more than they lost to me. To be honest, in Game 78, the second verse is the same as the first, and to top it off, we end it with Tiger, Wolf, and a very, very good big cat. Game 79 was going so well, and then the Solemn Nation attacked. I tried to kill him with Wolf, but they weren't having it, and they just gave me the big suck with Infinity, and I lost. Game 79, we're back up against Hero, and I can't lie, it's not super hard to beat this deck when you open the nuts. I probably would have lost though if I didn't have Scythe. That is really just the MVP card of the deck. Game 81, I'm up against Shinobird again. And what is this? 2 Lance, the absolute luck of this person. And from here it goes very downhill, and I won't lie, I lost this one aggressively, and I'm not happy about it. Shinobird's been like an awful nuisance. In Game 82, we get redemption! Sadly, I did have to leave for a driving lesson, so I didn't actually get to finish this deathmatch. I didn't kill anyone with the car though, so I'll take that as an extra win. In Game 83, my opponents seen the Tiger Dog coming soon, and they knew that they couldn't defeat the absolute godlike combo of Tiger Dog, so they of course scooped it up. And just to remind you, in Game 84 we take 3 wins, baby! In Game 85, my opponent managed to break my board and set up in a gate, and I had no plays. But they still managed to lose because they left a 500 vanilla beat stick on board, and I of course knocked that dude out to take the W. Game 86, I'm going to be honest, I feel I played it really well to start with, but then they dropped the Ice Dragon's Prison on me, and I'd already spent all my gas money, so let's try this in the next game. And in Game 87, this is payback for the Ice Dragon's Prison, and I'm pretty happy. Game 88, I'm up against Giant Ballpark, and I have never seen this deck in action, and oh my lordy lord, this is a doozy of a deck. Of course, like, it's not going to beat me, but their plussing is nuts, and it's a good try. In Game 89, we both had weird hands, and they didn't get their glorious pluses, but they did Lightning Storm me for 4, so that's kind of a thing. As usual though, my doggy ends up eating them alive. Game 90, I'm up against Shaddoll, and I've got no idea what I'm up against here, so I did get lucky with the Blind Abyss Dweller, and I saved the droplets since I had Chain in hand for the pluses. They end on a Winder, and I end them with Tiger and Dog. Alrighty, so Game 91 didn't go as planned, and I can't really say that I couldn't have tried to play through it, but the honest answer is I just couldn't be bothered, so I scooped. Fun fact, I actually played Game 92 horribly and was rewarded with a huge beat stick that my opponent could not out, so it was just a matter of time, and eventually we get the win here. Thank God for playing horribly and not remembering that the Beeroo's a card. Game 93, I'm up against Black Wings, and I'm gonna be real, I tried to be smart, and I don't know if I could have played this game differently. I think the Imperm really actually did me in, and they ended up with a pretty hard to kill Avramax, and I don't think I had any way of stopping it, because it was immune to pretty much all destruction, so I scooped. Game 94, I'm up against Infernoble, and I'll be real, I don't really know how to stop Infernoble, so I just came into this giving it my best shot, and turns out stopping Isolde and killing their tuner was in fact the right thing to do. In Game 95, I'm up against what I'm going to call Hulk Turbo. They had Hulk on the field, and I did not want the Link Cross hitting the field. Turns out that was the right play. I managed to have them end on a Borrow Savage with nothing else, and I had free reign to go absolutely nuts. So as many things in my life, it ended with Tiger Wolf. Game 96 was very much the same, well-timed hand trap and I opened up droplets. This one needed a lot more luck to win though, and I got it. Was going to end with Tiger Wolf, but they seen it coming and just did the smart thing. Game 97 was up against some sort of Eldritch abomination, and this one has a healthy dose of good plays and dumb ones. Thankfully, I make more good plays than bad. My opponent made me go first and I end on a simple whale with a toy vendor to make some plays on my opponent's turn, leaving them with nothing, and as usual on my turn, they get the wolf. Game 98, I'm up against Infernoble and they combo off and end on quite a manageable board, but since they sniped my only other playmaker, I just couldn't win and I was gonna get OTK'd, so we lose this one to go on to Game 99. Game 99, and while I side on everything I've got, I open up one interruption. Turns out, thank God they couldn't play through that one interruption with the hand that they had. They ended their turn with nothing, and I was going to hit them with the Wolf Tiger, but they scooped them up for the last game of the day. Game 100, this is it, and of course, for the final game I open with Fusion again. I do a super good job of mopping up their board, and quite frankly, while I don't get the OTK, I'm dead certain I can stop them from coming back. Until I burn my free negates. And they summon God Phoenix Gearfried. And they attack, which will mop up my board. And they negate their own Gearfrieds. Yes! Yes! We take free ones, boo-boo! So I'm gonna be real, this deck is fun, like super fun. If you want a strong OTK deck, then I can't recommend this enough, but don't expect a top tier deck. This deck pretty much needs to OTK, and in most cases can't play through any sort of effective floodgates, and the fact that you need two separate engines that don't always consistently search each other to win, or the searches that you do get are restricted. I get Edge Imp Sabres was the original, and it's kind of what the deck did, but like if we could just add an Edge Imp off a toy vendor, that'd make me cream. However, the deck isn't without its upsides. The deck is cool. It's got some really powerful cards and has some great synergy with Forbidden Droppets, which opening that and Chain is pretty much game since you have access to Poly, Sabres, then any other good searcher lands you a load of pluses. Also, speaking of pluses, you've seen it, the deck can go absolutely bonkers, ungodly amounts of draws and searches, meaning you can go from like no cards in hand to +7 with field advantage. This deck is fun. I don't think I showed the true potential. I think I really could have used True King of All Calamities a lot more than I did. I think the deck could be played better by someone else. But I had a lot of fun, right? This is one of the most fun decks that I've played for 100 duels, and I say that every time because these decks are fun, but Fluffals just had something different about it. It was a rogue deck, it's a fun deck, it's like got lots of unique interactions and lots of unique plays, and it's insane. So let's take it to the outro. Guys, that is the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it to this point, definitely deserves a like and a sub if you haven't already joined Team Tally. As always, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I'll catch you all later. Bye.